that everybody should switch on their camera. तो बहुत अच्छा लगेगा हम रूबरू हों एक दूसरे को देखें. So हम शुरू करते हैं इस कन्वर्सन को एक छोटी सी स्टोरी के साथ में. स्टोरी ये है कि 1989 की बात है. हम अपने डिपार्टमेंट में थे और हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में हम एक लड़की से मिले भाई, ठीक है. और वो लड़की धीरे धीरे पता चला वो इलाहाबाद की है. एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड सीइंग हर ऑन एथलेटिक फील्ड में भी, एथलेटिक्स में, लिटरेरी में, ड्रामेटिक्स में. और हमारी जो जर्नी है, मैं 91 तक उनके साथ था वहां पे HBTI में. उसके बाद की जर्नी स्वप्नलेखा is going to share. So please join me to welcome Ms. Swapnalekha Basak, CEO HCS Wellness. May I ask you to share your journey from HBTI till date?
Thank you so much. It is so much of a pleasure to be here amongst all of you. All of you are now the age of my sons and daughters. Now, I find it very strange to talk to you and think that you're in the same college that I was. And I just so wish that when we were your age, we had sessions like this, because we had so many questions. There was no internet, newspapers, magazines, nothing ever carried about what is happening in the real world. So I feel happy, I feel privileged, and it's great fun to be with all of you. So that's why I was saying keep your cameras on, so that at least I know. If you're getting bored, I know. If you're engaged, you smile, you like my joke, then I know. So get your cameras on. That'll be a favor to me. And the other thing is, keep asking questions, because what we're going to talk of today is no knowledge for you. It is an effort to just open up your minds to look at your own self, because at the end of it, you have to work on yourself, right? So until and unless we have a conversation in which you are convinced about what I'm telling you, it really does not make any sense, isn't it? So that's why I have requested Radhakant sir to keep the slide pack with him. I've got a few slides to share with you. And I'll keep my eye on the chat box. So keep sending in your questions. If there's something that you do not agree, you would want to ask a question, please feel free to do that. Because it's by answering your questions is what you would get convinced. And if you are convinced, then only will it actually make an impact onto your life. And it would be worth the time that I'll spend with you over here. Right? So let's just start. So Radhakant sir, just
I'll just share the screen and then we'll start.
Yes. So, as you can make out from my hair, I'm an old woman. I've got lots of years behind me for experience. So I'll just briefly tell you what are the things that I do, and there we start on from what we're talking about. And Radhakant sir and I have decided that we'll make it more like a conversation, so that he is able to, because he's more in touch with you, he talks to you more often than I do, so that he could ask me questions which probably are there on your mind, and that will make the whole session more useful. And none of you have till now said a yes, no, smile, laugh, nothing in the chat box. That's not up to my expectation.
So whatever emotions is coming during this,
bring it all, so
please do. Yeah.
In case you disagree, it's important for me to know why you disagree, so that I give you the right reasons, so that you agree and then probably follow what we talk about, right? Okay. So as I told you that it's been long that I passed out. I'm the class of 1993. So it's been how many years now? 7 and plus 20. 27 years that I've left college. So obviously I've done lots after that. So as you will see in the next slide, I've just put in what are the things that I'm currently engaged with. I run a for-profit company called HCS Wellness, which evangelizes healthy living in corporate workplaces, and which is the reason probably I can comment on well-being and talk about it. I'm also a leadership coach, but how I coach is by using Conscientiousness and I have deep belief in the Indian wisdom that we carry, and I usually coach leaders based on that. In 2012, I founded a non-profit called Computer Shiksha. Computer Shiksha does enable schools to do free computer literacy lessons. And today we have built the capability to enroll more than 1 lakh students. We operate in 16 states in the country. We've got 520 centers. And proud to say that the entire model has got modeled copies in Ghana also. So we consult them in Paddy, though we don't have any direct operational control over them. For a brief period of my life, I also moved into academics. So I taught human resource management, and subsequently I got published with Pearson Higher Education with a book. So I keep writing. And as you would have made out, my career was entirely rooted in human resources. So I worked across countries and across industries and companies doing HR. So feel free to ask me questions that you might want to ask an HR person, because my life has gone into hiring people, training people, and the rest of the work through the entire life cycle of an employee. So this is briefly what I have done and what I do. So if there's any question which come out of curiosity, or you would want to know something, feel free to ask me that.
So
yeah.
what we have done, we have basically circulated a questionnaire through you, which you have shared with us. So what we have found out, what you have found out after going through the questionnaire.
Yes, yes. So there were about 132 people who responded to a questionnaire, and I'm sure many of you who responded are there in the session also. So Radhakant, if you go to the next slide, it has some of the findings. So you would know one of the questions that we had asked was that which of the following in terms of personality is true for you? So there were three options. One is, I don't know what kind of a personality I want. Second was, I know, but I don't know how to get there. And the third was, I know, and I also want, and I also know how to get there. So the people who said that they knew what kind of a personality they wanted and they know how to get there are about 37%. That leaves about 63% people who either are a little lost about which way they want to go, or they know which way they want to go, but they don't know how to do it. So today's session, we'll spend a little time, most of the time, trying to figure out what is personality and how do you get where you want to be. Then the next thing that we asked was your ratings around well-being, and I was just looking at the slide and thinking normal distribution is actually normal distribution. So it's actually normally distributed. So most of you think that you're handling your well-being fine. So we'll spend a little time on the well-being bit. So this is these are the two things. Third, we also asked you that what are the areas that you're struggling with. And I took out, and I've seen about 50 to 70% people have pointed out these two areas that you're struggling with. One is about communication, and lots of people spoke about being tongue-tied when you have to speak in public or when you have to speak in English. Those are the two areas. And second, I did spot in terms of temperament, there were a few people who said that they have a problem handling their anger, but many of you did say that you overthink a lot and you kind of waste your time thinking. So these are the two areas. See, I can see lots of heads nodding, and I guess we were in the same space as you are at your age. So we will look at these three things which we found out, and I'll try to share what I know of personality and seeing young people grow and build personality around these things. If there's anything beyond the purview of this, then feel free to ask me any questions. Okay, so let's just get started with it. So the first question, which is, what is personality? Right? Everybody has this question. What the hell is personality? In fact, you've made a absolute, what do you say, a demon out of this whole personality bit. उसकी personality बहुत अच्छी है. उसकी personality बिल्कुल बेकार है. This is a normal thing that we have this notion in our mind that मेरा personality अच्छी होती है तो सब हो जाता है. And what do we think of when we think of personality? We think about a smart man or a woman who's able to talk his way and convince people that he's good. How many of you agree with me? Tell me yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, everybody thinks that personality अच्छी होनी मतलब You should look good, presentable, and you should speak with such elan and enthusiasm कि सामने वाला बिल्कुल floor हो जाएगा, right? And हम लोग usually at your age we also did it. We thought that ये जो बोलने वाला part है ना, this is what does the trick. All of us think that. Okay, so I'll tell you what, personality has different layers of looking at it. So I divide it, and this is my own model. So there are three things. Number one is the basic personality that all of us have, right? There are certain things which are innate to us, which is unique, and they are stable patterns of behavior. जहाँ भी जाए मोटे मोटे तौर पे वैसे ही behave करेंगे, वैसा ही सोचेंगे, वैसा ही मन को लगेगा. So this is the innate part of the personality. तो दो लोगों की पर्सनालिटी एक जैसे हो सकती है अंदर से, but the external environment might still perceive it differently. Why? Because the same personality then goes and behaves in a different manner in front of people. तो पहली बात तो ये एक personality होनी चाहिए. Second is personality when it gets presented in front of people. How it manifests in front of people is the second thing. उसमें सारी बातें आ जाती हैं. आप कितने इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंट है, आप में सोशल स्किल्स है कि नहीं. That, so first you need a personality, then that personality needs to get projected in the right manner. फिर किसके सामने आप प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं और उसको आपसे क्या उम्मीद है, इस पे वो डिपेंड करेगा कि वो आपको कैसे रेट कर रहा है, right? So if somebody who's giving you, who's probably sitting in an interview and he wants to assess you for giving a job, he will have some kind of expectations in his mind. और ये जो आपने demonstrate किया है, he is going to look at that demonstrated behavior and say कि ये मेरे लिए fit होगा कि नहीं होगा. अगर होगा तो you're on, अगर नहीं होगा तो you're off. पर हम लोग जब पर्सनालिटी की बात करते हैं तो हम सिर्फ ये थर्ड जजमेंट के बारे में बात करते हैं कि किसी ने क्या कहा. That is not what personality is. Personality first is what you really are, second what you show to the world, and the third is who is looking at you. And what is that person's expectation of you will actually then get a report card for your personality. Radhakant, the next slide पे जाइए. Just wanted to share this. So personality is quite like this. ये जो पहला वाला box हमने बोला ना, this is the part which is under the water. ये किसी को दिखता नहीं है. But अगर ये ना हो तो ये ऊपर वाला हो सकता है क्या? It can't be possible. So first we have to understand what is the part which is underneath the water, which is the real thing which constitutes me as a person. After you have understood, go back to the slide, sir. After you have understood what constitutes you as a person, then you have to see, do I communicate this personality correctly or not to someone else? अगर आप अपने बारे में बताना ही नहीं जानते हैं कि आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, what you're thinking, what your views are, how much of your subject do you know, how will that person ever know whether you're good or bad? So the second part is what are you demonstrating as your personality? And the third then is the person job fit, meaning you might be a very quiet person. So your basic personality is that you are very quiet and you do not like to talk to a lot of people. However, you would love to take on a job in marketing. Tell me, if in case you demonstrate being a very quiet person, do you think you will be found fit for a marketing job? Possibly no. So then what you need to do is you have to modify your likes to suit what the person is expecting from you in a way which actually doesn't destroy your innate character. So first we have to build personality, then we have to learn how to project the personality in a manner what the other person is actually expecting. Have you got that right? Any questions?
So what I understood, like maybe on their behalf, I would like to ask.
Yes.
So if I am not very outspoken, I'm not very outgoing person, but I would love to go into marketing, and where the marketing or sales requires, a person should be outspoken or outgoing. So
yes, absolutely.
कैसे करना होगा मुझे, मतलब how I will like to do this, कैसे मैं करूँ?
My first advice is that you should first understand what your personality is like. There is no personality which is good or bad.
Okay.
Every personality either fits or unfit for a job.
Okay.
So tell me, if in case I am a very quiet person who likes to just sit and work probably at my table at the lab and do things, and I do not like to engage with too many people, then should I take a job which requires me to engage with a lot of people? Let's take both the possibilities. I say no, I have looked at my cousin, he's a marketing manager, he's got such a good life, I also want to be like him.
Yeah.
इसके लिए अगर मुझे थोड़ी एक्टिंग करनी पड़े और मुझे दिखाना पड़ा that I'm very interested in people, I'll do it. You do it, then you get the job, and then you every day is a misery for you. Now, is that something that you want? Possibly not.
Yes.
Let's look at the other situation. You've looked at your cousin, he's got a marketing job, you really want to become like him. And you think that this is the kind of a job because he travels a lot, he's able to meet so many people, मुझे इसके करने में बहुत मजा आएगा, पर मैं बहुत ही shy हूँ, मुझे लोगों से बात करना अच्छा नहीं लगता है. ये दोनों चीजें तो साथ में नहीं चल सकती हैं. या तो आप मार्केटिंग मैनेजर बनने का ख्वाब छोड़ दीजिए, या तो फिर अपनी पर्सनैलिटी पे काम करिए कि वो थोड़ा सा एक्सट्रोवर्टेड हो जाए. So you have both the choices. And I would suggest the better thing is that if your passion to become something into marketing and you think advertising is something which is very interesting और मुझे बहुत मजा आएगा करने में, उसके लिए पहले एक सेल्स वाली जॉब तो करनी ही पड़ेगी, तो मैं करूंगा because I'm so passionate about it. Then you work on your personality in a manner so that you start taking interest in other people and you become used to talking to people and it doesn't become like a trauma for you to go out and meet people. The first option is try to choose a profession which is in sync with the kind of a person that you are. Second, I always think that human being is an infinite possibility. Nothing is impossible for anyone. Depends how passionate are you and are you ready to work hard. If you're ready to work hard, then work on yourself. Get coached, take feedback, and then अपनी personality को ऐसे mold कीजिए that it actually becomes fit for the job that you're gunning for. Is how I would answer that question. I'll give you my
मैं आपको अपने HBTI डेज में लेके जाता हूँ. मैं थोड़ा सा यदि आप चाहो जाने के लिए. So I take you to 1989. Okay. So I see you and you saw me कि मैं कैसा था, आप कैसे थे. ठीक है. हम दोनों की अलग अलग पर्सनालिटी थी. आप 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 जब HBTI में थे, क्या कुछ ऐसी चीज आपको मिली जिससे कि आपने अपनी पर्सनालिटी को डिफरेंट लेवल पे लेके आए जो आज अभी हो, या वो अभी कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं?
I think my 4 years in HBTI contribute a lot to what I am today. A lot to what I am today. When I went in, if I have to share with people, if you give me the option, I'm better off sitting with a cup of coffee in my room, reading a book, writing articles, doing research. That's the kind of a person that I am. I really enjoy that. Gives me real happiness to do that. However, as a person, I'm very aspirational. I want to make an impact in the world. I want to change something. I want to create a dent in the world. That tomorrow when I die, there'll be a few lakh people who say that she lived and she did something which moved my world. That's something I'm very passionate about. With the result that I have created Computer Shiksha, I engage with huge number of students because my passion to make a difference is so high that I get out of my comfort zone and I talk to people. I talk to people who are not common with me. I go and work with them. And when I was in HBTI, आपको पता है NSS join किया मैंने.
Yes,
I come from a pure urban background. I come from a school where I spoke Bengali at home and I spoke English in school. मेरी हिंदी काफी घटिया थी, राधाकांत सर आपको अगर याद हो.
Yes, अच्छी तरह से याद है मुझे.
अनंत सर फिर
और इसी में मैं आपको जोक मैं थोड़ा सा बोलूंगा, इसीलिए मैं आपसे माइम कराता था, if you remember.
My हिंदी was bad. फिर आगे फिर उसके बाद मैंने ग्रास रूट पे काम किया, लोगों से हिंदी सीखी. एक्चुअली अनंत सर ने धर्मवीर भारती की किताबें दी, उससे हिंदी सीखी. उसके बाद पहली टेक्नोमैक में हिंदी में आर्टिकल भी लिखा. अनंत सर ने चेक करके दिया, फिर आर्टिकल भी लिखा. तो मैंने अपने, क्योंकि मुझे पता था अगर मुझे सोशल स्पेस में कभी कुछ करना है तो अगर मैं कॉमन लोगों के साथ गांव में जाके बात नहीं कर सकती तो मैं कैसे करूंगी फिर. देन इट विल बी लाइक ऊपर ऊपर की सतह का काम होएगा, कुछ कुछ कर नहीं पाऊंगी. So I think I took that opportunity to do that. अगर आपको याद हो, आपने आके मुझे माइम करने को बोला, मुझे ड्रामेटिक्स का माँ बाप नहीं तब पता था कुछ करने. But I thought that let me see, maybe it's something different. I might get an idea about it, what I did. So I tried out new things. I learned those, and I think I'll share it now. For them, it will be so strange. We were about, I think, 30 girls in the college, sir, at the time.
Yeah.
There were 30, 35 girls were there. I think.
Yeah.
हमारे बैच में शायद 11-12 लड़कियां थी. And this is especially for the girls over here. How many girls are there? Are there girls here? Say yes if you are. I'll tell you some horror stories about our past.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, very good. Oh, great. So I'll tell you. The kind of horror stories that we were up to. When we were there, our seniors told us you should not be wearing jeans. It's a bad idea in the college. We did certain things, and there were some absolutely nasty things written about me and a few other people, and written in a wall magazine and stuck onto the walls of the auditorium. Now, do I look at those experiences as being very negative and bad? Probably for a few years, I was very angry, and I would probably hate guys, and I was extremely sharp with my language. But I realized that I became very strong after that, because then I learned how to fight for myself. I had a conversation with the Dean of Students Welfare saying, how can you have such a thing happen? I started becoming very careful behaving with people, because lots of people told me that whoever you're interacting with might be actually the people who are writing about you. Now, these are the kind of experiences which probably people get late in their life when they are in the workplace. I got it so early on in life. So the choice for me to interpret that experience was mine. I could have become extremely bitter, shut up, and not talk to people, or I could have continued and built on myself the way I am today. I choose to think that I'm fearless, and a lot of it comes because I got challenged when I was in college. So, to answer your question, I speak so much. To answer your question,
It is basically building up. Actually, it is building up, and it is making me also understand, and everybody who is present, they will understand what exactly how you're building up your personality.
It is very, very important to take on opportunities and make the most of what you get over there. I can write a book on the number of things that I've learned from people over there. I can tell you whom I learned Hindi from. I can tell you where I learned my appreciation for Western music from, writing from. Talent night used to happen. I would go around and spend time in the decoration. I think all the time that I spent in HBTI, I did not waste. At that time, probably my parents would have said, my professors would have said that I wasted my time. But when I look back, I think I utilized every single moment that I spent in that place for 4 years in Kanpur. And whatever I am today is because I learned so many things while I was there. So 4 years in college is a tremendous opportunity to be, you all of a sudden you come out of home, you're free, you make so many mistakes. And if you don't make those mistakes, how the hell will you learn? So I think personalities can be worked upon and be made better, just with a lot of hard work. I think lot of hard work. And you guys have us to guide you. I mean, if any time I'm saying, if you want to create a group someday and you want somebody to talk to you, resolve your questions before your placement, I'll be there. Technology can make it possible. I'm there to say that I'll give my time for you. We didn't have all of it. But in spite of that, I think we did well in building ourselves whichever way we were. So personalities can be built, to answer your question.
Thank you. And one more thing I would like to understand. As you said, being alone, being in a room and having a coffee and then writing. How I know that I have that passion, and how suppose I am not able to understand what is the key thing which ignite within me कि ये है जो मैं हूँ, वो कैसे पहचाने हम? How to know that? How you knew that?
I think the only thing which can make you really realize is to actually do it. I might sit and think I'll become an ace writer. And when I put my pen to paper, I'm never able to finish something which I'm writing, means I don't have it in me. So just forget the idea. I think it's very important, because at this age that you guys are, sometimes you might think, you know what, I feel like I'll be really good at that. Then I feel, no, I'll be really good at that. How do you figure it out? You figure it out by actually throwing yourself into it, trying it out. If it works, great. If it doesn't work out, like Thomas Edison, that ye bhi nahi ho sakta. This is another way which will not work out. But you have to work. What I am absolutely what I would advise you is never to leave things in the thought realm. सोच के imagine करके brood करके कोई फायदा नहीं होता है. Try it out. अगर आपको and it can be with a kind of a job also. Suppose you think that you'll make a great salesman. You try it out. I mean, you get opportunities. These days, it's a gig economy. Find out opportunities to tell somebody that I'll go and do sales for you. Try it out, see if in case you can take sales, you can do sales or not. And I will give you an example of, I was telling you Radhakant sir for yesterday, right? About, it's a fatte de rahi hu abhi that, we understand what we can do and all of that. ऐसा है नहीं सबको जब तक करेंगे नहीं तब तक पता नहीं चलेगा. So I'll give you an example from my career very late on. We're in 2020. I'm talking about 2003 or 4. I used to head HR for an project engineering division. And it was a division which we grew from 17 crores to 117 crores in 2 years. And there was a lot of people things that we had to do. And I was fortunate to think that my boss, who was the president and CEO, thought that I was responsible for doing it, and he thought that I'd done a great job. So one day he called me over and he told me that, you know what, you've done HR for a long time. The only way for you to grow is either you become head of HR for the group or you do something different. So don't do HR. Why don't you do something like do my client management for Motorola? You become the account manager for Motorola. And what it would mean is that I would have to grow the business from Motorola and I would be responsible for a P&L. And you know what I did? I looked at the man and said, you must be crazy. I just do a good job of HR doesn't mean I'll make a good business person. And I said, no, I'm not even going to entertain it. And he pursued it one time and that story ended. This was in 2004-5. Now you pan out in 2012, I started Computer Shiksha. And when you start a charity, how do you start it? You start by asking people for money. And when you start asking for money, how do you ask for money? You don't have anything. आपने कुछ नहीं किया है अभी तक. आपने स्टार्ट भी नहीं किया है. आप कॉर्पोरेट में यू आर हेड ऑफ एचआर फॉर SAS इंडिया. लोगों को पता है that you are a head of HR. आपका कोई सोशल वर्क का बैकग्राउंड नहीं है. And you have to go and ask for money. And I realized, and it was about 2 or 3 months, and I did a fairly good job in raising funds for Computer Shiksha. And when we started on the 5th of May 2012, we had thought that we have to put in all the money ourselves, me and my partner, Dr. Swami. But that was not to be. We got half the money we raised from outside, half of it we put inside. And I realized I was doing a sales job. Let's just think about it. In 2005, I denied an account management job in an organization where I had the comfort of failing. अगर मैं fail कर भी जाती ना, nobody would have minded and said, never mind, you're not able to do it, you come back and do it. I gave that opportunity up. And why? Because I did not take the risk of putting myself into it and actually trying it out. So therefore, my message to I sold it in 2005. I'll be 34 years old, and I still made that mistake. So we all learn from our mistakes. So don't make the same mistakes that I did. When somebody gives you the opportunity, put your 100% into it and try it out. If it doesn't work out, you come to know one thing which doesn't work out, and when it works out, you've got it. If that answered the question, Radhakant, you said about fashion and all that.
Yes. And I hope whoever is present, they would be able to understand what exactly we are talking about. And हम बात क्या कर रहे हैं और क्या पैशन की बात कर रहे हैं. स्वप्नलेखा जी ने बड़े आराम से बताया कि हमें किसी में पैशन होता है वो हमें पता चल जाता है, और जब तक हम ट्राई आउट नहीं करते, वी आर नॉट एबल टू फाइंड आउट कि ये पैशनेट है या नहीं है, ये या ऐसे ही हवाबाजी हो रही है.
वो तो फिर एक चिल्ली वाली बात हो जाती है ना कि मैं ये मिलेगा तो ये करूंगा, फिर ऐसा होएगा तो ऐसा कर लूंगा. एंड दो इट साउंड्स वेरी सिली कंपेयरिंग, बट दैट्स हाउ वी बिहेव when we are sitting in our hostel room and sitting and brooding कि ये हो जाएगा तो ये कर लेंगे. That is one thing you have to stop. You have to actually put yourself into action, and at this moment be open to failing. That's the best thing that can happen to you. If I were to tell you, see, when I put my slide up, I tell you all the things that I've succeeded at, right? And you think that I'm good, yeah. She must be having a lot of dash in her, that's why she's done it. I am not telling you the 200 things that I have failed while I've done those 5 things. Because nobody talks about those 195 failures.
Yes.
So therefore, feel free to fail, because if you do not fail, you'll never know whether it works or not. And if it works, oh my God, that's a jackpot then. Then it works out. In all these things that I have done, I'll tell you, all of them were things which I started not being totally confident that I will do it. So when I wrote my book in 2010, my colleague from Reliance had become the area chair for Narsimonji in Bombay, and she was the area chair for HR. And she called me up and said that, Swapna, we need to write a book. And I said, book? Like what book? So she says that we've got books which are only of foreign authors which are happening over here. There are no Indian examples. We have so much experience in HR. We need to put it on in it over there. So I said, how do we go about it? So she says, I'll make a proposal first. Let's write out a couple of chapters and send it to top publishers and see whether they really like it or not. So what happened? I said, I'll try. Let's give it a shot. बुक नहीं पता था पूरी लिखूंगी कि नहीं लिखूंगी. बात क्या हुई थी, सिर्फ 2 चैप्टर लिख के we'll send it out to try whether it works or not. There are enough chances reject हो जाती है. अगर हो जाती never mind. Out of those 195 things एक चीज और reject हो जाती. But since it worked out, उसके बाद वो 650 पन्ने की किताब लिखना, I myself feel surprised that I actually wrote that book. So I think one has to just keep trying out everything and not be fearful about failing at all. So while being at the personality conversation, you will say actually what constitutes a personality. कुछ तो 5 factors होने चाहिए.
Yes, so हाँ, मैं ये समझना चाह रहा हूँ, जैसे आज का करंट वर्ड है, बुका वर्ड जिसे बहुत बोलते हैं, आई थिंक ज्यादातर लोगों को मालूम भी होगा. हाँ, ज्यादातर लोगों को मालूम होगा कि बुका क्या है, वोलेटिलिटी, अनसर्टेनिटी और हमारी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी और एम्बिग्यूटी, ये वाला जो वर्ड है, जो अभी कोविड भी आ गया है और उसको और उसने बढ़ा दिया है. तो उसमें क्या ऐसी एट्रीब्यूट्स होनी चाहिए जो पर्सनालिटी में कैसे पता चले, कैसे करें, हाउ टू गो अबाउट इट?
Okay, so my thing is that basic core of the character 2000 साल पहले भी वही चाहिए था, अभी भी वही चाहिए.
Okay.
So just let's look at the next slide, which has got 5 attributes of, and the next. See, so personality के ना, there are thousands of papers that you will find everywhere. So I have chosen one which is easy to explain and which you can use. These are called the 5 dimensions of personality, and these are 5 ways in which we are. So the first one, and you can remember it by this mnemonic called ocean. O-C-E-A. By the way, before I start, any questions from anyone, whatever I've said till now?
If it is there, please write on the chat box.
Write on the chat box and ask questions.
और अपने सभी कैमरे ऑन कर लो. ये मैं आई कांट सी, आप देख पा रहे होगे सभी ने कैमरे ऑन कर लिए या नहीं कर लिए? आप उसके फेशियल, सो सभी आप so it is request to everybody to switch on the camera. So
पता तो चलेगा.
हाँ, स्वप्नलेखा जी देख तो पाए कि कैसी नॉड हो रही है, क्या हो रहा है. सभी लोग अपने कैमरे को ऑन कर. मैं तो नहीं देख पा रहा हूँ, मगर आप एक बार देख लेना.
Okay, no questions. Yeah, okay. There are only 2 options in this. Either I'm dead boring, or whatever I'm saying, nothing you can make out. There can be only 2 things which are there. Either I'm very good with what I'm telling you, or it's very boring. Never mind, we'll go with this. So 5 dimensions of personality. These are the 5 that you can look at your own personality. So the first one, O, is openness to experience. So openness का क्या मतलब होता है? Basically, how open am I to ideas and how open am I to action, doing different things. So one is how open am I to thinking differently and how open am I to actually acting differently. So the question you have to ask yourself when you ask yourself this question, that in the last 1 week, what is that new idea that I have read about, thought about, accepted or rejected? What is that new thing that I have done in the last 1 week? And if you have not done any of these, that means your openness to experience is low. And you can guess, when your openness to experience is low, your personality will not be good or bad. It will just be limited. It will just be limited. So the second is conscientiousness. Conscientiousness means basically sincerity. और इसको 2 तरीके से देख सकते हैं. One is pure hard work, industriousness. How much of willingness do you have to work hard? And the second is, how orderly are you? Is your life in order? Are your thoughts in order? Is your everything that you deal with, is there order in it? So conscientiousness is about hard work and order. Then the third is the extraversion and the introversion. Now this is one thing which troubles most of you. Saying I'm very introvert, and that's why my personality is not good. And I'm making a public admission to all of you that I'm a pure play introvert. I've had times when I've gone for a wedding and escaped and found a book and sat and reading somewhere. But when you look at me, does it look like I'm an introvert? Possibly no. So therefore, introvert doesn't mean you can't be a leader. Only your style of leadership will be different. That's the only difference. So extraversion means how much inclined are you to go out and actually discover the world and express it that I'm discovering. And introvert is somebody who's not very interested in experiencing people and is mostly to himself. So, to those introverts who think that's the end of the world, I'm a sitting example of how I have coached myself to take interest in people. And now every person in my life is like a book to me, and I am genuinely interested to find out about people. So, if you get interested in people, you become an extrovert. The fourth is agreeableness. Agreeableness means how much do people like you. That doesn't mean you do things that others want you to do. But imagine if in case you are a person that you enter the class and people wish कि ये मेरे पास आके ना बैठे. That's not something that will help you much in the world. And how do you go about actually becoming agreeable to the world? Is one being polite, and second is being compassionate. Compassionate would mean understanding what others are going through and then responding to that. And the final is what is called neuroticism. Neuroticism means how stable are you in the face of negative situations? Do you start becoming volatile and angry, or do you escape from it, or are you able to handle it well? This is what is neuroticism all about. And you will, all our personalities, whatever we're trying to develop, fall in these 5 buckets, most qualities that we have: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, introversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. These are the 5 dimensions in our personality. Now the next question you will be that what do I do knowing this? इसको जान के क्या फायदा है? इसको जान के तभी फायदा है if you can apply it to yourself and then decide, ये do I need to work on myself on this or am I doing okay? Chances are in all of these areas you will have to work on yourself. And you remember, this is the iceberg which is below the sea level, which is at the bottom. Nobody can see it, but this is what creates your character. This is what builds you as a person. And on top of this, then will be the behavior where people will then perceive you as having a personality which is the kind that they would want to give you a job or not want to give you a job. Radhakant, have I been able to explain myself?
Yes, and I would like to understand एक थोड़ा सा और इसमें डीप मैं समझना चाहता हूँ कि कैसे मुझे पता चलेगा. सपोज आपने बोला कि अपने को मैं सेल्फ एक्सप्लोर करूँ, सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्ट करूँ.
चलिए तो क्वेश्चन बनाते हैं इसको पूछने के लिए कि आपने ऐसा किया तो आपको पता चल जाएगा. Openness to experience, right?
Yeah.
The question you have to ask yourself, as I told you, that how open am I to doing things which are different? How open am I to believe in things which are different from my own belief system? Think about it. जब आप अपने friends के साथ बैठ के argument करते हैं, तो are you open to listening to their point of view, या आपके दिमाग में ये चलता रहता है, how do you prove my point? How do I prove my point right?
Okay.
ओपननेस टू एक्सपीरियंस है कि आपको ऐसा कभी हुआ है कि लोगों ने कुछ ऑफर किया है, जैसे मुझे ऑफर किया था और आपने मना कर दिया, ये मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा. दैट मींस यू आर नॉट ओपन टू एक्सपीरियंस. आप एक सर्टेन स्ट्रीम में हैं, आप फूड टेक में हैं, आप कंप्यूटर्स में हैं. डू यू सिट एंड लिसन टू व्हाट योर अदर ब्रांच पीपल आर टॉकिंग, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग ओवर देयर, और डू यू थिंक ये मेरे काम का नहीं है, इसको मैं व्हाई वेस्ट माय टाइम ऑन दैट? This will tell you inside you that do you have curiosity? Do you want to learn new things? Okay, somebody's asked a question, ma'am, do failed experiences add up to wasted time? because everyone around us seems so perfect and precise in whatever they do in their first attempt at something. Oh, Saransh, you've got laid out by this entire marketing world. इसने बता दिया तुमको पहली अटेम्प्ट में सब लोग सब कुछ कर लेते हैं क्योंकि वो कभी बताता ही नहीं है वो उसके पहले जितनी चीजें कर चुके हैं और फेल कर चुके हैं. So it is failed experiences never waste time. But yes, let us look at this. जब मैं कॉलेज में when I came into college, as Radhakant sir told you, he came and said that माइम करते हैं. हाँ राधाकांत सर, उसी
Yes,
साल फैशन शो भी हुआ था. बहुत लोगों ने मुझसे आके कहा था फैशन शो में भी पार्टिसिपेट करो. मेरी शक्ल तभी भी वैसी थी जैसे अभी भी है. मैं अभी भी मोटी हूँ, तभी भी मोटी थी. अच्छा, उस वक्त do you think what is your, tell me in the chat box yes or no. I refused doing the fashion show. Now do you think I should, that is an experience that I should have tried? Because I knew that I would fail at that. My God, there you go. So see, I still think that doing a fashion show when you know that you have no interest in it and you'll not be able to do it well for sure, and deep inside you're not convinced about it, I think I did the right thing by not trying it out at that time. So therefore, her experience try karna can actually lead to some wastage of time. So you have to थोड़ी तो अक्ल लगानी पड़ेगी to choose which experiences to take. Somebody tells you that it's great to have weed, try करके देखो एक बार. Would you try or not try? I think that's an experience you can do without. So don't try, not required. So yes, trying out new things is important, but you have to exercise a little discretion to say that, is this in line with my value system? Do I think it will help me in the future or not? That is what you have to be. So openness to experience, you should not reject it based on I'll not be able to do it or it will not be useful for me, but largely be open to experiences which you think that will add up to you as a person. Have I missed out any questions? Somebody has said passion should be followed. Somebody has said startup. Oh, great. Somebody has said startup. So Ayush, you've asked me about a startup. So I have a startup of my own and it's been 5 years. So I choose to call myself a serial entrepreneur. There's a third organization which I run called Planet Edge also. Now, I'll tell you some realities about the startup world. All the newspapers, magazines, videos that you get are only about the success stories. You should know that there are 7% startups which survive beyond 5 years. 93% startups fail. Am I saying you should not go and start an enterprise of your own? No. I'm saying if you're passionate about it, you definitely should. But you should brace yourself up that it might be possible that I might fail and I might have to actually kill myself to stay in there and actually succeed. So those are the things that you have to know before you actually jump into it. And another thing, while I say that, see there's this very nice book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, and he gives a very nice concept called the hedgehog concept for businesses, saying that how should you decide which business to get in? And I translate it for you students, saying how should I decide which career to get in?
Yeah.
So there are 3 deciding factors for that. Number 1 is passion. That is, yes, you have to be passionate about something. The second is, am I capable about it? So I'm a cricketer, I want to become a Sachin Tendulkar. My passion is unmatched. But then, do I have the capability inside me to work hard and be at it to actually make it? So first and second is an assessment of your capability. And usually when you're thinking about careers, it's not as simple as a cricket. There are more angles to it. So first is passion. Second is, do I have the capability or not? And the third is, since you're talking about of a career, it should also fire the economic engine, which means that it should also become a method for you to actually earn too. If all these 3 are in place, then you should definitely go ahead and jump into whatever you wish to do to actually do that. How to know is it my passion or not? Ayush, the best thing is throw yourself into it. Passion nahi hoga to thode dino mein chhod doge. Vaishnavi said, "Ma'am, sometimes it happens that we try to be part of some institution and organization, but sometimes rejections make us question our capabilities, also become a threat." Okay, very good question, Vaishnavi. Rejections should make you question your capability. They should make you, because that is the whole point. But after you have analyzed it, you should also be smart enough in figuring out what happened, that what made them reject you. Until you have found the answers, you should not give it up, because everybody is supposed to give you an answer. Until unless you get an answer from yourself or for whoever who has rejected you, you should not lie at rest. If you find the answer, then it will not threaten your self-esteem. So how do we cope with this loss of self-esteem? So I'll give you some facts about life. Is that everything in life is the iceberg that I showed you. You see only 7% of the success and you think this is what it is. Uske niche there is 93% of failures that people are riding on. Right? And let me also not discount the amount hard work has a role to play in this. And I'll give you an example. Some of the things which I always carry as inspiration in my mind is that you would have seen I used to work for Star TV. And I used to work the time when Kaun Banega Crorepati was commissioned as for the first time, and Amitabh Bachchan came onto the TV set for the first time. It was a big thing for us because we got him to do it for us. But for him, it was a what should I say? I don't know how much of you know. Amitabh Bachchan had started an enterprise called the ABC Enterprise, which lost a lot of money, and very big way, and he was in very dire straits when he took this on. Now, I have not seen this in action, but my production people used to say that when he used to come for the shoot for Kaun Banega Crorepati, at that time all the questions used to be given by an organization run by another gentleman called Siddharth Basu, which our generation knows because he used to host on DD a quiz called Quiz India or something. And he used to host the mastermind for BBC. Amitabh Bachchan used to sit down with him and whoever his team would come from, and एक question होता था, उसके 4 option होते थे, हर option का suppose the wrong answer होता था, उसके बारे में भी he would make notes about it, he would learn it up, he would pace up and down to check whether he has learned all those answers or not, and then he came onto television to perform, and we know what a successful man he is, and we know the kind of capability he has. But if he can be so unsure of himself, I mean, who are we? I mean, do we have any right to even say that I'm unsure, my self-esteem is low? Somebody like him lost his self-esteem, and what did he do? He only channelized it into hard work. That's the inspiration that I carry with him. I do not follow anybody on Instagram, but I follow him for only those things when I hear that he's recorded a song at 2:30 in the morning. He's a man who's got muscular dystrophy, if I remember rightly. And if he can do that kind of hard work, and he has no need to, he has enough money, fame, everything, he still works hard. So therefore, there is no replacement for hard work. So this self-esteem and all, no, you just throw it out. If somebody tells you you're not able to do it, tell me I have, and then go back and work on yourself. Go back and work on yourself. Chances are, if somebody is nasty and he's rejected you for the wrong reason, then you forget it any which ways. There'll be so many in the world who will do it to you. But if you've got feedback on something, then you work on that. So hard work is one thing. Hard work, and अगर किसी ने बोला that you are useless, ask them, you qualify. What does useless mean? Useless मतलब क्या? So ask questions to figure that out. I hope that helps. Anushka said we are currently 21st century. Men are more likely to be selected over a job rather than a woman. Also, over 35% of women do not believe they are on the same way as men with comparable experience in their organization. Does that affect our personality to some extent? How to overcome this? Okay. To tell you, so men are more likely to be selected over a job over a woman. Yes, quite possible. That if in case somebody feels that there is a chance that a physical labor of a kind a woman will not be able to do it. They do have limitations in their mind, and they don't hire women. I know that it's a reality of life. Uh, but the other thing is that as a country, you should realize that as a country, we don't differentiate. Our laws don't differentiate. The pay scales and the government scales don't differentiate. And whether you go into the corporate sector, if you're doing the same job as a man is doing, I don't believe that you get paid lower than women do. This is a phenomena which happens in the Western world. I don't think it happens in the Indian context. Where it actually kicks in, I'll tell you, is that when women reach an age where they're about 30, 20, 30 kinds, when they know they're just going to have a child, and they think that even if the salary is less, if my organization is not very demanding, let me stay here. And many organizations, women choose to work at lower salaries because they get a little leeway to manage their family life, and that's why they are there. Okay. Now you're saying, does this affect our personality to some extent? So I'll tell you how I look at it. If in case as a woman I know that I've given up on a little salary because I think that there are other parts of my life which are getting managed better with this, I'll be okay with it till the time my life has gone on to a situation where I'm working, I can give in as many number of hours and I can do as much as a man can do. And at that time, I don't think I will ever put up with getting paid lesser than any man. Now, does it affect my personality? I think as a woman, I am much stronger. My ability to deal with opposition is much higher than other men. I was the head of HR for SAS India at the age of 34. I used to sit in a management committee where the CEO was 57 and all others were more than 50 years old. So I don't think you should ever think that it treats you unfairly if in case you go whole hog to do it. Now I'll tell you the other part of the story. It sounds very nice. At the age of 27, I got hypertension. I have had blood pressure since that age. I'm 49 today. I've still not been able to get over it because I worked unearthly hours. I overworked, overstretched as a woman. I had a small child. I wanted to be a super mother. I wanted to be a super executive. I destroyed my health so that I stepped out at the age of 36. I stepped out and I said, this is it and I don't want to work anymore. So you see, all choices that you make in life come with certain associated risks and results. So make your choices wisely. Make your choices wisely. If there are a bunch of women who are there and you think that you would want to have a separate conversation with me about that, ask Radhakant sir to organize one and I'm happy to take all your questions in the psychological space, only talking between women. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, that will be great, and we will organize that, and only for the female, and
absolutely do that because our challenges, women, and the challenges that they face are absolutely different from men. And I'm not saying that men do not face challenges; they have their own set. Women have their own share of challenges. Okay, as you've said, to check our passion, we have to put ourselves in it, and if it's not, we will be bored and step back. But some people are fickle-minded; they can't stick for a thing too long. How can they choose something? Well, those of you who are fickle-minded, then I'm sorry, there's nothing nothing there for you. If you
So maybe may I ask one question? Like, how do I know that this is my passion? Like, ये जो fickle minded वाली बात हो रही है अभी जो ये बात हो रही है.
Okay, so fickle minded. If you see the second part of this personality that we said, conscientiousness, it talks about that. Conscientiousness talks about your fickle mindedness. अगर किसी चीज में आप लग के नहीं रह सकते हैं कि आपके personality की flaw है, इसको आप fix करिए. Because there is a lot of comfort in being fickle minded. What is the comfort? You have avoided any kind of failure. जब आप लगे रहेंगे तभी तो आप फेल करेंगे. जब आप फिकल होंगे तो आपने आज एक चीज छोड़ दिया, उसको एक और चीज चालू की. What is the comfort? You have not failed. You just changed your mind. Okay, Anushka, good question. कोई एक चीज पकड़ लो और जब तक फेल ना हो जाओ तब तक लगे रहो उसके साथ. And if you know that मेरे पास बाहर निकलने का कोई चॉइस नहीं है, तो तुम अपने चॉइसेस भी बहुत केयरफुली लोगे फिर. अभी तो तुम्हारे पास क्या चॉइस है, चलो आज ये कर लेती हूँ, मुझे पता है कि कुछ दिनों बाद मैं चेंज भी कर ले सकती हूँ. So you have to make a resolve to yourself कि ये एक चीज जो मैंने की है ना, ये मैं I'll take it to the logical end. So if when you are children, you know आप लोगों को प्रोजेक्ट का काम क्यों दिया जाता है? It is only to build on this conscientiousness. कि अगर आपने हाथ में कोई काम लिया है, तो क्या आप इसको इसके लॉजिकल कंक्लूजन तक ले जा पा रहे हैं कि नहीं? ऐसे बहुत लोग आते हैं. So I will tell you what are some of the questions that we ask in interviews to check this. Suppose you tell me that you are passionate about something, huh? And you say that Radhakant sir, अगर मैंने आपसे पूछा, आप बोले okay, what are you passionate about? What will you, or anybody from here tell me, give me an answer. I'll tell you what is the question I'll ask you as an HR manager coming for a hiring interview.
Maybe somebody can volunteer. Maybe Anushka only.
Anybody, Anushka, volunteer. What would you say? You say that I'm very passionate. So I ask you that. So what do you really like to do? What are you passionate about?
Ma'am, very good evening, ma'am. Very good evening, sir. Ma'am, that's my problem. I feel that I want to get myself engaged in many things. I feel like I can do this also, I can do that also, and I just get flickered every time that what is like perfect about me. That's the main problem I talk about.
So I tell you, see, now I have not heard you. I'm not the HR manager. You would never ever tell anybody about this about you. Nobody will hire you if you say that. So what you need to do, so what is the question I will typically ask if an Anushka comes and tells me that I'm really passionate about, say, sir, kuch to hogi koi ek cheez. Anybody volunteer? I don't know the scope and substance of what people do these days. What are the other things people are passionate about? Writing. No, writing. What do people say? Acting. Technology. Helping people. Music. There you go. Shreya Sharma. Shreya Sharma says, I'm very passionate about music. So I will say, what about music are you passionate about? So listening to music can't be a passion, Shreya, huh? Watching movies can't be a passion. Passion always has to be an action. Passion has to be an action. Listening to music is not passion. Watching movies is not a passion. Making movies is a passion. Anushka Saxena, great. Photography, you said. You're passionate about photography. Okay, Anushka. So which is the best picture that you've taken till now? Is the question that I will ask. How many photography competitions have you participated in? Have you had an exhibition of your photographs in your gallery? What have you done? That is what is you. So whenever an HR person comes to interview, they will check your passion against an action that you have taken for it.
So there is basically
passion cannot be an interest in something is very different from passion.
Exactly. You have hit the nail.
Interest is not passion. Passion is something that I want to consume myself in. Passion is something that I will say that तुम मुझे पैसे मत देना, मैं तुम्हें पैसे देती हूँ ये काम करने के लिए. That is what is passion. So, Pavan Sharma, designing, very good. So designing, right? So you said that you're passionate about designing. Also, which has been your design which you think has been the best that you've done till now? Can you share what you've done? Now, Pavan, if you don't have something that you can share about designing, I am going to dismiss your passion and say that this boy is talking about his interest as passion. Interest is not the same as passion. So passion has to be always associated with action. Pavan Sharma, give me a minute. Sure, Pavan, I'll give you a minute. It's 8 o'clock, Radhakant sir.
Yeah, go ahead. We have a time. I hope everybody is okay to continue this. Pavan, it is okay?
Pavan is saying.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Is it okay, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because we will take additional 35 minutes more to conclude. So, is it okay, na? Everybody? Maybe everybody puts the thumbs up on the chat box so we understand, yes, everybody is aligned and they are getting interest into it. Sabhi log apni mein.
Anurag Mishra says that he is very interested in engaging with people and solving their problems in an analytical manner. Right? Now, the first question that will come is that what have you actually, what kind of problems have you actually solved? Now, the shade of your answer will actually help me build an opinion about you. If you said that, my roommate had a problem with his girlfriend and I helped him patch up. It's problem solving, right? At the end of it, it is problem solving. Then I will actually think that, okay, this guy is great at actually probably understanding people. So what else? So given you have to always translate your passion into an action, and the action should be worthy of being recognized as something meaningful. अगर वो meaningful नहीं है, so that action will not be considered anything. So Anushka, to answer your question, if in case you are fickle about something, it is an aspect of your personality. You need to fix it. So what you do is you pick up one thing, whichever you think has the highest probability for you to succeed. Okay, highest possibility. And you do that till you actually fail or succeed at it. Is it wrong to choose multiple things you want to be good at? So much so that it might be stopping you from excelling at this one thing? I'm thinking about this question as you're asking me. What's your purpose in life, Anushka? What's your purpose in life?
I want to have a comfortable living where I am happy and I'm able to make other people around me happy as well by giving or anything else. But I just want to have a comfortable living. And
okay, so you have to earn enough money so that you have a comfortable life.
So,
and the kind of a job.
Anushka also said.
Yeah.
So how do I choose this one thing that I want to excel at? But there are multiple things that I want to be good at, and I personally don't think that I want to completely remove them from my hobbies or anything.
You should not, because it actually makes your personality extremely rich if you do multiple things, right? But ask yourself, Anushka, is it the comfort that I am getting of thinking that I know so many things taking me away from my purpose in life? So your purpose right now, as I hear you say, is not definite at all. It is a very feel-good purpose. It makes me feel extremely nice to say, I want to have a comfortable life and I want to have a life where I give happiness to others. That's what I'm hearing you say, Anushka. So if this is what you want to do, giving happiness to others, my question to you is, what can you do which can make others happy? Can you answer that question for me?
Not really, ma'am. I'm not sure.
So see, there's a comfort in thinking that I will help others. That comfort you have to continuously challenge and ask, what is it that can I do for others which can make me happy? Do you have a social bond? Do you want to do social work kind of things?
I want to be involved in those things, but I don't think that I want to just do that. As in just being a social worker, I want to have a separate job or something that I really want to do and enjoy.
Okay, so so you should therefore this doing good for others is something you should keep it on the back burner right now, because that doing good for others will happen when you have the money to give them and do something for them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So therefore, you will, in the next conversation, you've said this for the last time to me today, you will never mention it till the time you've actually got a plum job for yourself. Because what happens is, Anushka, we give ourselves a lot of comfort by thinking these nice things about ourselves. You focus only on one question: what is it that I can do which can get me into a career where I can earn well for myself? That's the question that you have to yourself, right? And that is what you should continuously work on. Ask me any questions. Others would also gain from your asking questions.
It's also not necessary that if I'm particularly good at something, I will earn a sufficient amount, something that I'm comfortable in. Or
okay, so I'll answer this question for you. Thankfully, boys and girls, you're in the 21st century, and I can tell you one thing: if you're good at doing whatever in the world, you'll be able to earn well for yourself. Do not have this idea that if I do, this is something that will not help me earn a good amount. And if this is something that I do, this is something which is lucrative. When we were growing up, we had few options, right? Few things we could do. Your world is full of opportunities. full of opportunities. Choose something that you are very good at. I can promise you, you'll make money in that. You tell me what is the interest that you have that you're giving up for money. Tell me right now.
Nothing, ma'am. I mean, I'm not even sure what I really want to excel at, so I'm not really giving up anything right now.
You are Anushka. After me for saying that, you are right now in a nice fuzzy state of indecision.
In
And
confused
yes,
state.
the sooner you get out of it, the better it is for you. I will tell you one thing about. So there's another man that I really admire is Ajit Doval. We all know Ajit Doval, right? If you don't know, please, you should know Ajit Doval. I have not a single person has said yes. Oh, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank God. Can you tell us who he is? Whoever has said.
Ma'am, he is a chief of NSA, National Security Agency.
Wonderful. Yes.
Now, you should listen. Ajit Doval did an interview, and I think some university, he did it for some university students, and he said something very beautiful. People asked him that when you go for these missions, see, like the entire surgical strike was his baby, right? So people asked him that आप कैसे decide करते हैं कि ये चीज सही है या ये चीज करनी चाहिए या नहीं करनी चाहिए? So he said that I'll tell you the last line which I took with him. He said that there is no decision which is the right decision. We have to make the decision the right decision. You get it? So no decision. ये हमारे दिमाग में Western what should I say philosophies आ गया है that you have to find your soulmate. There is nothing. This is bullshit. Soulmate is a bullshit. You have to find that perfect job for you which you have been cut out. Again, bullshit. What you have to do is make small decisions in life. Do those. If they work out, that becomes your road. If not, you change your road and go somewhere else. So you have to first begin at doing something. That's the most important thing. So Anushka, for example, right now, can you tell me 3 things that you've tried and failed till now? Possibly not.
Ma'am, I haven't really put myself a lot into anything for me to really fail at it.
There you go. So now you need to do that. So you said, right? Some Anushka, I think the other Anushka said that, how do I get over this fickle mind of yours? See, the only thing is what Nike says, just do it. I mean, there's nothing more to it. People will give you a motivational talk, falana, tikana. There's nothing, just do it. I mean, you just decide one day that, आज after this old woman has told me, एक चीज तो मैं decide करके कर. अब now I'll not give it up till I'm actually on the other side or not. You just decide and do it, and you will see this will add so much to your character, so much. I would like to ask about the insecurities people get about getting the job they want versus the job their family asks them to do, citing major responsibilities and respect from peers based on job and position. ये तो हिटलर कुरैशी की बात कर रहे हैं हम from Three Idiots. Well, I think Aman, I think to answer your question, I've understood. It's so there are expectations from family. Am I hearing that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll answer it like this. I've been where you are and I'm where I am, where I've got a 22-year-old daughter now. See, when parents tell you something, they have your best interests in place. However, they come from a space of limited knowledge, right? And you have to acknowledge both the things. One, whatever they are telling you, they think it's the best for you. So don't brush it off. Think about it. Reflect. Then after that, see what are the limitations from which their advice is coming. If you see that it is coming from their limitations, then you don't need to follow their advice. You follow your way. You might take a little longer to become successful, but it's your family. They'll understand that you're being sincere. Talk to them about it and just do it. Don't, oh, you know what Farhan and Three Idiots said, एक बार बात सुनकर एक बार फैमिली की बात सुन के जिंदगी भर उनको कोसोगे, इससे अच्छा है एक बार तुमको कोस लें, जिंदगी भर they'll be fond of you for having succeeded what you've done. It's a difficult. I know it is very difficult to advise and to do, but that's all I can tell you right now.
So,
Yes, Aman. Aman, bolo.
Yes, Yes, ma'am. I'm citing that what you said because as you said कि एक बार उनकी बात अगर मान ली तो उसके बाद जिंदगी भर उनको कोसेंगे. Just about that, we do what they say ever since we were small. We have done things they ask us to do, and we are continuing to do what they ask us to do. So at some point of time, we just want them to be happy at what we do and not ask questions at what we are doing and why we are doing it. Like I want to become a professor, but they want me to pursue UPSC. It's like I want them to be happy.
Yeah, it's very straight. Nobody makes anyone happy, Aman. Your parents make themselves happy, you make yourselves happy. These are all wrong notions. हम अपनी खुशी के लिए अपने आप जिम्मेदार होते हैं. You have to understand you are responsible for your own happiness, they are responsible for their happiness. Given what you are telling me, limitedly what I have heard you say, I think you can just say bye-bye to the UPSC and continue to do with what you want to do. And when you become a very good professor who's loved by his students and his papers get published and you're spoken of in a respected manner, I'm sure they'll be happy about it. थोड़ा वक्त लगेगा, but ठीक है, it's okay. It's okay. I think you should just carry on with, but sincerely करो हाँ. ये मेरे टाइम पे मुझे याद है मैं खामखा ही rebellious होती थी बिना किसी वजह के. वो rebellious खामखा नहीं होनी चाहिए. If there is reason for it, please rebel. And may the strength of God be there with you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Rakhar says that, ma'am, most of us currently at the point of our lives wherein we have to make the most important decision of choosing one of the fields we are interested in to pursue our future in the same. But what if we are really interested in more than one for other fields? I mean, we don't have the chance of giving it a try, and it's a kind of a hidden trial. I know what you're saying, Rakhar. It's a very difficult decision. Maybe you want to go and become a stand-up comedian, but that's a area which is ridden with, what should I say, risk and failures. So just follow that I told you. That first, are you passionate about it? Second, are you good at it? And third, will you be able to make money with it or not? If all the answers to this question is yes, then please go ahead and do it. If it is no, then think about it again. I hope that helps.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
I hope it helps.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is anyway. So mota have all of you understood that these are the 5 dimensions of personality and what they mean. So what you can do is go to the internet, say 5 dimensions, and you will find umpteen number of tests where it will tell you what your scores are on each of these. So then after that, work on yourself so that your scores become of a person that you want to be. Radhakant sir, let's move on to the next part of it.
Yeah.
There's one thing which I saw a common strain with everyone saying that communication का problem है. So let me
मैं एक चीज पूछना चाहता हूँ जो थोड़ा सा अंडरस्टैंडिंग मेरे लिए भी थोड़ा सा हो जाए. कम्युनिकेशन का मतलब क्या होता है? क्या मेरी अंग्रेजी बहुत फर्राटेदार बोलूंगा तो मैं कम्युनिकेशन अच्छा कर रहा हूँ या क्या है कम्युनिकेशन का मतलब है?
इस उम्र में तो शायद सबको यही लगता है कि वो फर्राटे से अंग्रेजी जो बोल लेते हैं बस वो ही निकाल देते हैं गाड़ी. सबको यही लगता है. बट जिन लोग असेसमेंट करते हैं वो इतने बेवकूफ नहीं होते हैं. दैट्स व्हाट आई वुड से. सो कम्युनिकेशन का भी सबसे पहली बात, कम्युनिकेट तो वो करेंगे ना जो अपने अंदर है. सो पहली बात तो है वो जो आइसबर्ग दिखाया था, पहली आपकी जो पर्सनालिटी है वो पहले पुख्ता होनी चाहिए. दैट शुड बी स्ट्रॉन्ग. दैट मीन्स यू शुड बी ओपन टू लर्न. You should be able to engage with people. You should not get broken by failure. You should be a pleasant person. You should be very hardworking and an orderly person. जब वो सारी चीजें जगह पे है ना, उसके बाद ही कम्युनिकेशन का कोई रोल होता है. अगर वो जगह पे नहीं है, कम्युनिकेशन और नो कम्युनिकेशन, you will fail. So your first purpose in life should be to actually fix the innate personality that you have. Then we go to the next part. ये personality को आप world को present कैसे करते हैं? Through your communication. That means the method by which you tell the world what you are is communication, of which there are 4 parts to it I have put. Number 1 is your external appearance. आप जैसे ही किसी को कुछ देखते हैं, आपके मन में एक उसके बारे में इमेज बन जाती है ना. All of you will agree. इसके मतलब your appearance itself is a tool for you to communicate. Now, I will not give you any coaching class, neither I am an image management to tell you that you should wear business casuals with a tie, without a tie, have a beard, not a beard. I will not tell you any of those things. You are all intelligent people. Anybody you think and you look up to and you think this is the kind of a person that you want to become tomorrow, please follow their examples. That's the best way. You follow their examples, you fake it like you like them, you'll make it someday. So that first is external appearances have to be managed. If somebody is wearing a phati chappal and a ripped jeans and coming in for an interview, and he might be the most brilliant person, but I will make a certain impression about that person when he walks in. And after that, whatever he says through his words, tone and body language, I might reject or select him based on what I have made my appearance on, based on the way he actually appeared to me in person. So I think external appearances are important and it is actually a method of communication. जब जिस तरह से हम अपने को कैरी करते हैं वो भी हमारे बारे में कुछ कहता है. That's also it's telling something to the other person. So communication का एक बहुत बड़ा part है your external appearance, the way you are. The second is words, means जो आप बोल रहे हैं, क्या बोल रहे हैं, क्या नहीं बोल रहे हैं. कभी कभी तो ना बोलना भी कम्युनिकेशन हो जाता है. So I'll tell you in interviews many times people will ask you a question. So tell me something about yourself. आप चालू हो गए, आपने 5 मिनट तक बताया. Then you waited. The person is still looking at you. This is the trick which HR people actually play with you. You again start off. Now, when you start off, you're saying something which is not important, possibly not interesting. So, at that time, to not say something is also communication. So, what not to say is communication, what you say is communication, how you say is communication. I'll give you a favorite example which I always give from the Ramayana. After Hanumanji returned from Lanka, he knew that Sita was there in Lanka and he had done all kind of path in Lanka by burning the city down with his tail. But when he comes ashore, when he meets his friends, the rest of the Vanar Sena, he tells them all that he had done Utpat in Lanka, about how he had burnt, how he had troubled people, how he had bombed people over there. And when he went to meet Sri Ram, he never mentioned any of that, and he only mentioned where Sita was, her welfare, what she asked, what he said, what she said. It was the same incident. But he decided that when I have to speak to my rest of the Vanar Sena, this is what I need to say. If I am meeting Ram, this is what I need to say. So therefore, to even choose what you want to say is a part of communication. Right?
So here I would like to basically mention my own experience of HBTI. मैं एक बहुत अच्छी नामी गिरामी, मैं नाम नहीं बताऊंगा, नामी गिरामी कंपनी के का पहला राउंड हुआ, उसमें मैंने सक्सीड कर लिया. जो होता था ना फर्स्ट राउंड टेस्ट का होता था, वो उसको सक्सीड कर लिया. फिर उसके बाद इंटरव्यू में शॉर्टलिस्ट हो गया, फर्स्ट 5 में हो गया मैं. अब फर्स्ट 5 में होने के बाद जब बात हुई कि अब मैंने सब कुछ बता दिया, सब कुछ, उन्होंने ऑलमोस्ट मुझे सिलेक्शन करने वाले थे. तो कहते हैं कि कुछ कहीं पे जाके, जैसे अभी लेखा जी बता रही हैं और हमारी अभी अनुष्का ने भी बात की, हमारी बहुत ढेर सारी चीजें होती है जो हम खुल के बताने लग जाते हैं. अब कहाँ पे क्या बोलना है, कैसे बोलना है, नहीं हम सोच पाते. तो मेरी बहुत ही एक इंट्रिंसिक क्वालिटी थी, मैं ड्रामेटिक्स में बहुत वो करता था. मैं उनको ये बोलने लगा कि हम आपकी कंपनी में जाके ड्रामेटिक्स का कुछ सामान बनवाने लगे. उन्होंने उसी समय रिजेक्ट कर दिया. सो व्हाट नॉट टू से वाली बात यहाँ पे आती है. तो मैं ये बताने में अपना परिप्रेक्ष्य देना चाहता था यहाँ पे.
बहुत जरूरी है. Actually, it's a wonderful example. You have to know what not to say is also a challenge. ज्यादा बोल जाते हैं हम कभी-कभी to our own disadvantage. Shivam, what you're saying is absolutely true. What Shivam says is if the camera is off, समझ ही नहीं आता सामने वाला क्या बोल रहा है, क्या नहीं बोल रहा है. It's a challenge, Shivam. तभी तो मैं तुम सबसे बोल रही हूँ, please camera on करो, because it's such a big challenge. I can't figure out what you are saying. So it is difficult, and you have to learn what to do. I know it is difficult, but but telephone interviews are all about that only. There was up the video aa gaya, सिर्फ telephone पे interviews होते थे. So you had to. So it's you work around it. What else to do? So we come to the what to say, what not to say, how to say it, and after that comes the language. Now, many of you, I think, have an assumption over here that if I don't speak in English, I will not appear smart. Now, that is something I can tell you. I live in Bombay. It is the most cosmopolitan city. You probably think that everybody in Bombay only speaks in English and does this. But if I have to meet someone, I will actually judge the person with the content of the conversation. Okay, and the content of the conversation is what you say, what you not say, and how you say it, with the tone that you use and the body language that you use. Language is not the consideration. You can choose to speak in English, you can choose to speak in Hindi. If in case English is not your strength, why should you even want to speak in English? You speak in Hindi. But after you speak in Hindi, don't tell people that you got rejected because you spoke in Hindi. Be sure about it. You've got rejected because what you said, what you did not say, how you said it, your tone and your body language and your external appearance was not something that the interviewer liked. It cannot be because of language. For years, I have hired people from most campuses in the country. Language is never something that we check people with. Never. So please get out of this idea that if in case I'm not good with English, it's the end of life. It is not the end of life. If there are men and women who are getting impressed with one another because of English, it is worthy enough to reject those men and women who like you for the language that you speak. Okay? So first I want to leave you with this. And see, I am an older person. I have hired people. I make judgments about people. You will trust me when I say that. I do not, and almost everybody that I know of will not make judgment of a person on the language, choice of language. We will make a judgment on the basis of what you say. We say it's a sad reality in today's world that we are judged on the basis of our English speaking. Hi, आप लोग खुद भी तो judge कर रहे हैं इस वक्त. Are you not judging yourself by thinking that when I speak in English, I'll not be good enough? Until and unless you make the shift, how will the samne wala make a shift? You are not comfortable in English till you're trying to speak in English. I think the best thing you should do is say, introduce yourself, tell that I'm so and so and falana, and then is it okay if I speak in Hindi because मैं बचपन से हिंदी में पढ़ता आया हूँ and I'm more comfortable in Hindi. There are chances they will say that, of course. And then use your Hindi, and then after that, like अब सिर्फ हिंदी बोलने से काम नहीं चलेगा. उसमें आप क्या बोल रहे हैं, कैसे बोल रहे हैं, कौन सा टोन यूज कर रहे हैं, what is your body language, all that will matter for the other person to actually make a judgment about you. Don't make English your weakness. Make Hindi your strength. That is what is important. Make Hindi your strength. It will not take you. Just knowing English doesn't take anyone anywhere, other than if you want to work in a call center, which I'm sure you don't want to. आप लोगों को call center में calls तो नहीं करते हैं ना अंग्रेजी. Why would you play for English? Having said that, question is that why should you not know English? I'm not saying that you should not know English. It's a beautiful language, and most of the world communicates in English. Of course, we should know language. So the question is that how do I learn English? My question to you is this: how did you learn Hindi? Think about it. You learned Hindi because you grew up in an environment which was in Hindi. Everybody was speaking in Hindi. You also started, right? Therefore, you will have to cultivate an environment of English around you, in which you have to actively engage with the language and practice it so that you are able to speak that language well. Some of the examples that I would give is watch Kangana Ranaut's interviews when she was early on in the industry. And you watch her interviews now. I'm not talking the content of a conversation. You keep that aside. I'm just talking about a person who did not know any Hindi, has all of a started speaking any English, has all of a sudden started speaking very good English. It is not all of a sudden. So if you unearth YouTube, I don't remember, there is an interview that she gave to, I think, one of the radio channels about how she learned how to speak in English. So you see, everybody has to work hard. Now she has the money, so she engaged tutors. Now we don't have money to engage tutors to come and teach us. But with technology available, what is not available? So you can learn, coach yourself. Do you remember Smriti Irani speaking the bombastic language that she speaks? Is this the way she used to speak earlier? We all know Smriti Irani and the way she speaks. She's a wonderful orator now, isn't it? We all hear her now. And when I was in Star TV, she was Tulsi at that time in Saas Bhi Kabhi Bhoti. And her language was as ordinary as any of us. And now see what she has done. Do you think it has happened overnight? How are we supposed to tackle the social stigma about people wanting their children to study in all English school? When you have children, no, then don't decide the school based on English. That's all you can do. और तो कुछ कर नहीं सकते हो ना लोगों के बारे में. And the other thing I think it's very important is you will always notice that you have to be proud of what you are. Are you proud of knowing Hindi? You tell me that first. आप कहते हैं दूसरे लोग चाहते हैं कि वो अपने बच्चों को इंग्लिश पढ़ाने भेजे, आप नहीं चाहते हैं इस वक्त? Are you not also gunning for the same thing? If you do not respect your language, why should anybody respect your language? If somebody insists on speaking English, tell me, यार हिंदी में बात करो ना, मजा ज्यादा आता है. क्यों नहीं बोलोगे यार? In some years, India will hire Americans and they will learn. I hope that happens, Ayush. I hope that happens. But it's very, very important that you get a command over your communication, not the language. And for that, probably ask Radhakant sir to organize mock interviews for you. Ask him to provide you with sample questions that all of you should study. I can give you 5 questions right now. I can tell you, tell me something about yourself. This is like the most dangerous one which HR people throw at you. It's the most dangerous one because all your what can I say? Your all weaknesses, your limitations, they all come out as you say. आप सोचते हैं कि आप बता रहे हैं strengths, but actually you're actually letting all your weaknesses out. So prepare for how do you respond to that. Then what has been your biggest success in these last 4 years that you've been there? Tell me about it. जब आप बताएंगे उससे पता चल जाएगा. Which is your favorite subject? Why is it your favorite? What is the latest that is happening in it? These are questions that you can ready yourself, prepare yourself, and as you do that, obviously your language will keep on improving.
मैं इसमें क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहता हूँ आपसे. जो पहला क्वेश्चन है कि tell us about yourself. यदि मैं बहुत लंबा बताऊंगा तो मैं बहुत अच्छा माना जाऊंगा.
बिल्कुल भी नहीं. It has to be an elevator pitch. In the sense that आप 0 फ्लोर से अगर 10th फ्लोर तक गए उतने में खत्म हो जानी चाहिए और बंदे को आपसे इम्प्रेस हो जाना चाहिए अगला सवाल पूछने के. That's all. So if in case your CV has already been given, you will say that, dear sir, man, I'm sure आपने मेरा CV तो देख लिया होगा. Besides that, what can I say? That I'm very so and you decide whatever it is that is the best thing about you. बस वो बताइए और कुछ बताने की जरूरत नहीं. I am volunteering Radhakant sir. सब बच्चे अपना लिख के भेजिए. मैं सबका edit करके सबका उचरी करके भेज दूंगी वापस.
ठीक है. तो Pawan, we will just do this task and we will ask everybody to set this.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So this is about communication. Now I think we've spent enough time about this. Let's go on to the next. So I had asked you about your well-being, and this is what I actively propagate, that our well-being is determined by Ayurveda में एक concept है, which is आहार, विहार, आचार, विचार. इन चारों चीजों पे अगर नजर रखेंगे तो अपनी वेलबींग हमेशा अच्छी रहेगी, जिंदगी में हमेशा सुखी रहेंगे. आहार मीन्स नॉट जस्ट फूड. आहार मीन्स वॉट एवर यू आर कंज्यूमिंग थ्रू विच एवर सेंसेस. तो आप देख क्या रहे हैं, आप सुन क्या रहे हैं, आप खा क्या रहे हैं, सब कुछ इंक्लूडेड होता है. व्हाट इज गोइंग इन, बिकॉज गार्बेज इन इज गार्बेज आउट. इट्स एज सिंपल एज दैट. That is ahar. So what you engage with all your 5 senses, please be mindful about it. I don't need to go into saying that क्या खाना चाहिए, नहीं खाना चाहिए, करना चाहिए. You all know that. Now, vihar means how do you rest and what is the kind of recreation that you indulge in. So, Shri Aurobindo used to say, character is known by what a person does with his leisure time. Leisure time में आप क्या करते हैं? आप पड़े पड़े सोते हैं या Netflix पे movies देखते हैं या क्या करते हैं? So that depends, that decides your character and your personality a lot. So that is vihar. The third is achar. Achar means your behavior. And what I want to leave you with is एक बार जैसे आप behave करते हैं ना, वो आपके memory में जाकर store हो जाती है. Every time that you use a bad language and a bad behavior, it goes and gets stored inside you. Chances are आप फिर वही करेंगे. So please be mindful about how you behave. And the last, which is the most important, is the vichar. And if Anushka is around, I would ask her to concentrate on this bit. Radhakant said, next, last slide, Jumeri. Vichar actually means thought. So first, your thoughts should not race without your control. Your thoughts should be in your control, and there should be an intention for the thought. कि मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ. So you should have some kind of a goal, some kind of an objective. So when your thoughts have an intention, then you start paying attention to the right things. फिर सही चीजें दिखने लगती हैं, सही चीजें नोटिस करते हो, सही चीज मिलने, लोग भी मिलने लगेंगे. All of a sudden, right things will start coming, because what has happened is your thoughts have converted into your intention. Your intention makes you want to look at and notice those things which actually help you achieve your objective. फिर क्या होता है, आप ना expect करने लगते हैं कि ये तो हो ही जाएगा. And once you start expecting, you will achieve whatever you want. So for those people who are fickle-minded, it's very, very important that you have an objective in mind. Because your thoughts which have an objective means they have an intention. When they have an intention, you will actually pay attention to those things which will help you achieve your objective, and that will then make you actually start expecting कि ये तो होना ही चाहिए. And then you will say that you will go up in an upward swirl and things will only become better. So there are lots of people who have said that they keep on improving about yourself. I think the most important thing is convert your thoughts to action, and in your thoughts have an intention. That this is what I want to achieve as a goal. And your goal need not be to change the world, or the goal need not be something which is very busy, like Anushka said that she wants to do good to the world. The goal should be that by the end of this month, I should have, and there should be 2 things written down that I want to do. Suppose you think that you do not engage with people easily, then you say that end of this month, I should have spoken to 10 strangers in the college. Give the task to yourself that I will go and sit with next to somebody whom I don't know, introduce myself, talk to the person. एक बार success मिलेगी ना, then it just becomes better by the day. So that's what I would want to leave you with. I hope it has been useful. If there are any more questions you could ask, otherwise I think Radhakant said 35
Yeah, I wanted to ask one thing. Like मैं ऐसे सोचता हूँ कि मैं एकदम perfect हूँ. अब मुझे कुछ सीखने की जरूरत नहीं है. क्या ऐसा है कि पर्सनालिटी में मुझे अब मैं सब कुछ सीख चुका हूँ, अब कुछ सीखने की जरूरत नहीं.
इसको भ्रमित कहते हैं, भ्रमित होना.
अच्छा,
ये भ्रामक विचार है. अगर हम if we had become perfect, then we would have become what? I mean, जिसका जो भी इष्ट है वो हो जाएगा. I follow आचार्य चाणक्य. फिर अगर मैं perfect हूँ तो मैं चाणक्य बन जाऊंगी. Then I would have changed probably governments in the world and made the country a great. So I think it's anybody who thinks that they are perfect, there is something wrong. The word is that you are complete. You are not perfect. You have everything. You are complete, but you're not perfect. Perfection needs work on the completion. On the complete thing that God has given you, you need to work hard, means like dogged hard to get anywhere that you want to be. That's all I can say from whatever experience that I've had of life. There is no replacement for hard work. If you have not worked hard, it's silly to think that you become successful.
Great. So I understood. I hope कि काफी interactive रहा और लोगों को पसंद भी आया. And I would like to understand few more things. Suppose करिए मेरे अंदर कोई personality है ये एट्रीब्यूट जो मुझे चाहिए किसी एक जॉब प्रोफाइल के लिए, जॉब फिटमेंट के लिए जो आपने बात करी थी, और उसको मुझे बनाना है, मतलब आई नो दैट इट इज देयर समवेयर इन मी, इट इज देयर एंड दैट इज अ पैशन। वो भी मुझे पता चल गया ये मेरा पैशन है, ये मुझे पता चल गया, इज नॉट इंटरेस्ट, क्योंकि अभी सभी को ये समझ में आ गया होगा पैशन और इंटरेस्ट में क्या डिफरेंस है, ये भी समझ में आ गया होगा, काफी अच्छी डिटेल में हमने डिस्कशन किया। एंड देन यू मेड इट वेरी वेरी क्लियर कि हमें ये मालूम है पैशन है तो कैसे हमें इंटेंशन से, कैसे थॉट प्रोसेस से लेके कैसे फाइनली उसको एक्सिक्यूट करके एक्शन में कैसे लेके आना, वो भी हमें समझ में आ गया। अब सपोज करिए ये हमें सबको समझ में आ गई और हमें उसके रिलेटेड कुछ पर्सनालिटी चाहिए, उसको डेवलप करना है, मुझे अंदर से डेवलप करना है। सो कैसे करें, क्या कुछ स्टेप्स हैं उसको फॉलो करने चाहिए, हाउ टू डू इट?
बड़ा सिंपल सा, एक तो हमारे शास्त्रों में एक बहुत ही अच्छा वर्ड है कॉल्ड स्वाध्याय, स्व अध्याय, मतलब यू हैव टू स्टडी योरसेल्फ, इंट्रोस्पेक्शन। अगर आप दिन में शाम को एक बार इंट्रोस्पेक्शन नहीं करते हैं तो आपका अगला दिन इम्प्रूवमेंट हो ही नहीं सकता है। तो वन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज टू इंट्रोस्पेक्ट। अब सोचने वाली बात है, हर जना को अलग अलग चीजें अपने में डेवलप करनी पड़ती है। सपोज आई एम वेरी शाय एंड आई डोंट स्पीक आउट, okay, so every day in the evening I should do an assessment. I should decide that अगले दिन ना I will, any opportunity that I get to speak out, I will, उसमें होएगा सक्सेस है। somebody, आपने कुछ बोला, अगले दिन बोला चुप रहे यार क्या फालतू में बोला, might happen, but you spoke, no, that's a win. But somebody shut you up, that's a feedback, इसने क्यों मुझे shut up किया, कुछ तो अलग से बोलना चाहिए था मुझे, इसने क्यों। सो एवरी डे देयर हैज टू बी एन इंक्रीमेंटल इम्प्रूवमेंट। वो इम्प्रूवमेंट तभी होएगी जब आप हर रात को स्वाध्याय करेंगे, कि आप बैठ के सोचे कि आज के दिन में मैंने ऐसे सोचा था, ये तो हुआ पर ये नहीं हुआ, तो कल फिर ट्राई करूंगा। मेक योर लाइफ योर लैब, मेक योर लाइफ योर लैब। यू सी, एक्सपेरिमेंट करते जाओ, इट्स सो इंटरेस्टिंग, life becomes so interesting. Success will come, failure will come, but that's what makes life interesting, right? Otherwise we'll be as good as a dead body. तो आप अब मुझे कोई एग्जांपल दीजिए किस टाइप का, जैसे मैंने बताया कि
जैसे मैं एक सिंपल सा बताता हूँ, सपोज करिए मैं इंट्रोवर्ट हूँ, बट मुझे एक जॉब प्रोफाइल ऐसी जो मुझे बहुत पसंद आती है और जिसमें मैं काम करना चाहता हूँ, मुझे पैशन है उसका, ऐसा नहीं कि मैं दूसरों को देख के मैं पैशनेट हो रहा हूँ, मुझे पैशन है।
सो यू
इंट्रोवर्ट हूँ और मैं एक्सट्रोवर्ट बनना चाहता हूँ, तो कैसे करूँ मैं, क्या करूँ मैं?
इंट्रोवर्ट वाला जो है ये बिहेवियर आपके लाइफ में किसी तरीके से तो मैनिफेस्ट हो रहा होगा। आपको सवाल पूछा गया क्लास में, आपको आता है, आपने जवाब नहीं दिया, that's a possible way that you will react because you're an introvert. So आप बोलिए कि आपसे क्लास में मुझे पता होगा तो मैं जवाब दूंगा ही दूंगा। तो
मतलब चाहे लोग हंसे चाहे कुछ हो, मुझे उससे मतलब नहीं है, मैं जवाब दूंगा, ये आप कहना चाह रहे हो?
चांसेस है कि क्योंकि जब वो बोलेंगे ना तो पता चलेगा कि लोग भी अरे यार ये तो सही है, और पीपल, नोबडी लाफ्स एक्चुअली। वो हमारे दिमाग में से स्टोरीज बनती रहती है, मैं ऐसा करूंगा तो फिर हंसेंगे, फिर कुछ नहीं,
वो वाली लड़की हंस देगी या वो वाला लड़का हंस देगा,
करेक्ट, बहुत चांसेस है। पर बाद में when you succeed ना, ये सारी चीजें मुझे याद ही नहीं रहती। राधाकांत सर कहाँ याद रहती है बताइए, कितनी खड्डपंती कर चुके हैं हम अपने कॉलेज में, कितनी बेवकूफी का काम कर चुके हैं। अब आई एम श्योर वी डोंट रिमेम्बर ऑल दोस स्टूपिड थिंग्स दैट वी डिड, अच्छी चीजें सारी याद रहती हैं।
नहीं, हाँ मुझे एक याद है कि मैं वहां पे जो ऑडिटोरियम के सामने वाला जो गोल चक्कर है, वहां पे मैं एक नाटक खराब हो गया था मेरा, तो वहां बैठ के मैं बड़े ही बैड मूड में बैठा हुआ था।
मैं तो वो लाल डब्बा था उसके शर्त पे खिड़की से कूद चुकी थी, और बाबा सत्यनारायण सिविल इंजीनियरिंग डिपार्टमेंट के हेड सामने से निकल रहे थे। That memory haunted me for years कि क्या सोचा होगा उन्होंने। खत्म हो गई वो बात, जो किया तो किया, how does it matter? Oh, I'll tell you another one which will be of interest to the boys and girls. I went running, you knew how I was, I went running across from the auditorium to the cafeteria, और सामने से एक बंदा आ रहा था, man is a very illustrious man and he's a good friend of mine now, वो पीछे से, नहीं मैं कॉलेज में आई थी, बोलता सीएट बहुत टफ। आपको याद है सीएट का एक एड आया करता था इसमें, yes, दौड़ा करता था, तो मैं दौड़ के जा रही थी, and the fellow said सीएट बहुत टफ, that was a shock absolutely। पर होता है, but that doesn't mean that I stopped। कुछ दिनों तक मैं नहीं दौड़ी, तो मुझे लगा probably I'm a sight when I run and I should not run, but who remembers it? You start running again। Yeah. So I think it's that first small step that you have to take is very important. So Pawan, I'll share a book called The Power of Habits. The Power of Atomic Habits. I'll share that book over here. That book talks about हर दिन ना एक छोटा सा change करो, बिल्कुल छोटा सा. अगर वो करोगे ना, then you know we are all math students. Compounding करके that becomes huge by the time you leave college and you reach your time for the interview. But it is very important that every day that small little change should happen. जिस दिन improvement नहीं हुआ, you've lost an opportunity. Then don't blame anyone. Is what I would say. So somebody has asked a question. What is the difference between character and character is much deeper than personality. Personality is what appears to people. Character is much deeper than that.
So character is what the underneath of the iceberg. That's what you mean?
Yeah. बिल्कुल मैं तो बोलती हूँ एकदम bottom जो नीचे वाला part है, that is character. That defines you, what you are. Vaishnavi says, ma'am, we come around a number of people and we get influenced from their personalities and we try to be like them, but it doesn't have to be like someone rather than being yourself. No, much. Vaishnavi, I told you earlier also, na, we are all descendants of the ape. We all copy people. So ask me. I have so many role models. When I have to push myself, I will look at people, those who burned the midnight oil and those who worked really hard. If I look at people, and I have inspiration from history, from my own life, from public life, from my maid, I find inspiration everywhere. मुझे किसी भी चीज, कोई भी चीज किसी में अच्छी लग जाती है ना, तो मैं उसको कॉपी करने में पीछे नहीं हटती हूँ. And मैं shamelessly copy करती हूँ. And I'm so full of gratitude to these people from whom I have learned. And that's why you will, any time that you talk to me, I will be very quick in telling you कि मैंने फलाने से फलानी चीज सीखी है. अगर राधाकांत सर नहीं होता तो मैं कभी स्टेज को चढ़ ही नहीं पाती. मैं कभी सोचा ही नहीं था कभी कि स्टेज के ऊपर चढ़ना क्या होता है. इस तरह HBTI में कम से कम 15-20 लोग मैं गिना सकती हूँ जिनसे मैंने छोटी छोटी कितनी चीजें सीखी हैं. And how have I learned it? By only copying them. So don't feel bad about what is be yourself. I mean, be yourself is all अंग्रेजी चीजें आ गई हैं left से. Be yourself. हम लोग सब जब बच्चे होके पैदा होते हैं, we are absolutely innocent, beautiful people. पर हम बड़े होते होते करप्ट हो जाते हैं. उस करप्शन को हटाने के लिए फिर हमको एडल्ट लाइफ में मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. मेहनत को हम कैसे करेंगे? इंस्पायर होंगे तभी तो मेहनत करेंगे. तो जितने लोगों से आप इंस्पायर होते हैं इतना अच्छा है, पर आप उसके बाद इंस्पायर होके जो खुद बनेंगे, यू विल बी एब्सोल्युटली यूनिक एंड देयर विल बी नोबडी हु इज लाइक यू. सो what is she says that because maybe acting to someone. No, you do not copy people just for the sake of copying. You copy people only when you get inspired. How duplication of someone's personality can affect your growth. So Anurag, are you saying बिल्कुल total topo कर लेना? आप कर ही नहीं सकते ना किसी को. कैसे टोपो कर सकते हैं किसी की पर्सनालिटी? आप तो उस पर्सनालिटी का कोई एक पार्ट यूज कर सकते हैं. Like for example, Amitabh Bachchan is a great inspiration for me for using English and Hindi with equal flair. I am so impressed with him as to how he speaks in English as well as Hindi. तो जहाँ भी he is speaking ना, मैं अभी भी बैठ के सुनती हूँ just to notice that his choice of words. And I also know that he practices because I have experience. I've known that. So I also know that if I can practice like him, I'll become like him. मैं अभी तक I am nowhere close to where he is, but I can save my life. मैं हिंदी में भी बात कर सकती हूँ अच्छे से, संस्कृत में शुद्ध हिंदी में, और मैं अंग्रेजी में भी बात कर सकती हूँ कि किसी हिंदी भाषी को ये नहीं पता चलेगा कि मैं अंग्रेजी अच्छी बोलती हूँ और अंग्रेजी वालों को ये नहीं पता चलेगा कि मैं हिंदी अच्छा बोलती हूँ. I am routinely inspired by him, always. तो क्यों नहीं हो गए? बिल्कुल take inspirations from all around. पर मैं डुप्लीकेट थोड़ी ना बन सकती हूँ. Can I ever become a duplicate of Amitabh Bachchan? How is that possible? Saksham, what exactly matters in one's life, like all we learn from our surroundings.
इसके पहले ये वाला क्वेश्चन आप लो. इसके पहले मैं थोड़ा सा एक चीज पूछना चाहता हूँ आपसे. क्या हर बंदा यूनिक है? हम ऐसी बात करते हैं हर बंदा यूनिक है, हर बंदे के अंदर यूनिकनेस होती है. हम दूसरे को कॉपी करेंगे, क्या मेरी यूनिकनेस चली जाएगी या क्या होगा?
और निखर जाएगी यूनिकनेस और अच्छी हो जाएगी आपकी. जो आपकी यूनिकनेस है, इट विल बिकम बेटर देन what it is.
नहीं, मगर जब डुप्लीकेशन करेंगे तो हमारी यूनिकनेस कहीं दब नहीं जाएगी, मतलब मैं ये समझना चाह रहा हूँ।
कोई चीज किसी से रिप्लेस कहाँ होती है राधाकांत सर, पर्सनालिटी में तो ऐड हो जाती है। मैं अपने बारे में मैं बोलती थी, मैं जब आई थी तो मुझे सिर्फ अंग्रेजी आती थी, फिर हिंदी भी आ गई, फिर मैं सोशल वर्क भी करने लगी, फिर मैं लिखने भी लगी, फिर मैं एडिट भी करने लगी, तो कोई रिप्लेस थोड़ी ना हुई कोई चीज।
तो डुप्लीकेशन डुप्लीकेशन नहीं होता है, डुप्लीकेशन नहीं होता है,
डुप्लीकेशन होता है, ऐड होता जाता है, जितना ऐड करते जाइए उतना अच्छा है। फिर मैं यहाँ से IMT गई, IMT उन जमाने में रजनीश धाम हुआ करता था, इट यूज्ड टू बी सच अ this is going to public space, so I shouldn't mention. It was a place where my value system got totally challenged. I was like, the old values that I have, are they right? Am I old fashioned? All that happened. Then I went and started working after a couple of years. Then I worked in Star TV. Oh my God. Then what I had learned, my value system, which got challenged in IMT, all of a sudden became of use in Star TV, and I was absolutely fine to speak with people. So I still remember that I would, now again, this will go on to public space, but I can tell you people who would work in Channel V as VJs, they used to fondly call me Didi then. And I would tell them, listen, when you come to meet me, have a bath in the morning, don't smoke before you come and meet me. I had the courage to talk to them like this because I had dealt with IMT like that. तो मेरा वैल्यू सिस्टम रिप्लेस थोड़ी ना हो गया, वो और एनरिच हो गया कि अब मैं किसी चीज से मुझे शौक होता ही नहीं है. Then I started managing in the part of my life, international HR came to me. अब उसमें भी I'll tell you simple incidents which happened. took an interview of a woman in UK and she's telling me, yes, I stay with my husband's daughter. मेरे थोड़ी देर को लगा husband's daughter क्या होता है. So, you know, that was the first wave. So
cultural shock.
I didn't react because I was used not to reacting. Then
Yeah.
I started understanding how differently they engage with their people. So मेरा value system कहीं replace थोड़ी ना हुआ, वो तो और भी ज्यादा deep होता गया कि मैं और inclusive होती गई कि मुझे सभी लोग normal लगते हैं. अब मुझे आप कोई भी दिखा लीजिए, मुझे सभी normal लगता है. I think everybody has a safe place to be. What's wrong with it the way you are? So मेरी personality I think has become more enriched because of that. Okay, I'd like to take the question that Saksham has. Saksham, you speak about luck. Of course, luck matters. And when I say luck means, see, in our scriptures and in our traditions, we say that we are all born with prarabdha कर्म के साथ पैदा होता है. जहाँ हम पैदा होते हैं वो भी तो lucky है ना. That they are your parents is also your luck. That you were born in a certain city, in a certain atmosphere, that is all luck. And did that limit you in some way? The choice is yours. Did you let it limit you, or did you make that your strength? So luck is there. There is no doubt about it. But remember that how you respond to that is what is there in your hand. So to even say that luck, to consider it is a useless thing. ना कुछ कर तो सकते नहीं उस बारे में. What we have in our hand to respond the best that we can. उसमें कोई कमी मत छोड़ो. उसमें अगर कोई कमी होती है, फिर तुम बोल सकते हो लक के बारे में. Until then it does.
यहाँ पे मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल, थोड़ा सा मैं बताऊंगा. HBTI में मैंने ना एक EMC स्क्वायर की जगह मैंने बनाया था सक्सेस इक्वल टू हार्ड वर्क मल्टीप्लाइड बाय C की जगह मैंने लक स्क्वायर कर दिया था. तो लक यदि माइनस में भी है और यदि मगर 1 से ज्यादा है, 1.01 या कुछ भी है, तो यदि आप उसको स्क्वायर करते हो ना, तो माइनस में मतलब आपका लक माइनस की तरफ जा रहा है. आपको हार्डशिप, चैलेंजेस, हर्डल्स बहुत ज्यादा मिल रहे हैं, मगर उसको स्क्वायर करते हो आप, तो वो क्या होता है, स्क्वायर करते हो, माइनस माइनस स्क्वायर होगा तो क्या होगा, पॉजिटिव हो जाएगा, और हार्डवर्क के साथ में जब जुड़ जाएगा तो सक्सेस मिलेगी. ये मैंने उस समय से मैंने लिख के रखा था, कहीं पे था. सो माइनस में भी है, मगर 1 से ज्यादा है, उसकी जो वैल्यू है 0.99 नहीं है, 1.01 है या उससे ज्यादा है, माइनस में भी है, तो दैट विल बेसिकली फेयर ऑफ यू. आई जस्ट वांटेड टू शेयर दिस, सो मैंने शेयर किया. यहाँ पे लक के बारे में बात हुई थी.
एक्चुअली सक्षम, अभी तुम लोग बहुत छोटे हो ना, तो शायद हम बुढ़े हो गए तो हम बता सकते हैं दैट whether at a certain point you were lucky or not, you can only say when you look behind. जो आज तुमको लक लगता है वो ही तुम्हारे लिए कल तुम्हारा बैड लक भी हो सकता है. So never be sure about that. Like for example, if you get something without working hard for it, आपको लगा आप बहुत लकी हैं, but actually that quick success makes such a dent in your character that आप बाद में भी ना वैसे क्विक सक्सेस एक्सपेक्ट करने लगेंगे. फिर नहीं होएगा तो एजिटेटेड हो जाएंगे, फिर बैडली बिहेव करेंगे, तब आपको 10 साल बाद लगेगा यार उस समय यार मार खा लेता ना मैं तो ही बेटर था. So therefore at this moment of time don't consider anything bad luck. मैं तो बोलती हूँ जितने challenges आते हैं ना इस वक्त समझ लो फ्यूचर उतना ही ब्राइट होने वाला है. I will give you I should no more examples now because it's been already.
Yeah. Anushka want to say.
If you're running out of time to finish a project, what would you do? Focus on priorities and speed up. If you're running out of time, or ask for an extended deadline to complete the work properly. Anushka, for you specifically, never ask for an extension in deadline. With whatever little people experience I have, I'm telling you personally, never ask for an extension in deadline. Never give yourself the option to think that I have a chance of asking for a deadline. This is something that you should work on yourself. It's a very important part of character building, of personality building. Just remember it as an order from me that you will never ask for an extension of deadline. Kitna bhi bura ho, you will finish it by then. Because if you are a good quality person, you will kill yourself, but you'll not do a bad job. और ये जो deadline होता है ना, ये कभी आता ही नहीं. Tomorrow never comes. Never do that. Just never take a deadline and just finish it. Yes.
So I hope.
Anushka, okay. No. I know Anushka Pandey. I know this is Anushka Saxena as a different girl. Anushka Saxena, you're the girl who wants to have a comfortable life and do good to others.
Oh, there is a two Anushka. Oh, we got.
Oh no. My God, I've got it wrong. Okay, Anushka.
Now there is Anushka Singh as well. Anushka Pandey.
Oh my God. Okay. I thought that you were the Anushka who said that you're fickle-minded, and that's why I said that. But to you also, to whoever it is, never ask for deadlines. When you are getting a deadline, negotiate at that time only. But after you've got the deadline, it should be no compromise. Just fit in at that time. Make it a habit. We don't like people who ask for deadlines. I don't, and I know many of my colleagues don't.
And in corporate world, it is very, very important that.
Because you know what we are used to saying is somebody says, "What's the deadline when you want it?" I say yesterday.
Yes.
That's a joke. So I can say that. So abhi se habit bana lo. No deadlines and all that. I might sound like virus, but that's okay.
So I hope everybody would have got such a wonderful wisdom from you, and it was really nice to have you. It was so engrossing and so everybody got so engaged with your wise words. Thank you very much. And
I hope it is of use to you. I hope that it's of some use to you. And Radhakant sir, you can give my numbers. I cannot pick up the phone to call me. But if you want to get together and you want to have a conversation with me anytime, feel free to get in touch with Radhakant sir. And I'm happy to do that once a month. Anytime.
Yeah. So we will fix some process or something where we can basically have a very smooth communication. Thank you very much for such a wonderful session, and
I hope you found it useful. Please let me know if you did, because then it makes sense. Then I know that I'm saying the right things. Otherwise, it's like knocking on the wrong doors.
No, it was wonderful, and I'm sure many would have got the real, meaning, what the personality is, what the passion is, and where one has to basically develop themselves.
Great. I hope it has been useful. And thank you so much for having me over. So, if there are any more questions, I think I'll be happy.
Sure. We will compile and share with you, and then we'll fix some process. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.